saw you from across the room. When our eyes met, I never knew that I could feel this way, and it's kinda strange. Don't even know your name. I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. I don't know you, but I want to get to know you. Just wanna get to know you. You say that you're from out of town.
Tonight, we're going to discuss sexless relationships. The times you're in a relationship where you might not be getting as much as you'd like. So let's get going. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. If you're in Australia, obviously it's good evening, but for those of you watching in other countries, welcome to this week's episode of Ask Jay. Let's just wind that music down a little bit because we don't need it anymore, because I'm here. That's what you want. You want me. You want the information. You want what's going to happen. What are we going to talk about tonight when it comes to relationships? Well, we've got a doozy of a question tonight because, yeah, as you heard in the heading, sexless relationships. It's yeah. How's your week been anyway? How has, what is it, the second, third week in October? Yeah, we're seeing a little bit about a few things about Halloween coming up, but we're also getting those Christmas posts that are coming up. You know, it's only so many days until Christmas, so many days till the end of the year. Let's, move on from Dimension 2020 and hit 2021. And let's hope that it gets a little bit better than it has been this year, right? Because it's not only just us, but it's our relationships, it's everything that is going crazy in this great big planet of ours. But tonight, we're going to ask the doozy questions, the questions that get thrown at us each and every week. And I want to thank each and every one of you for jumping on. Oh, and I haven't done it yet, but I might want to actually introduce myself if I can find where I am. There I am. There. I'm Jay from JMC, your relationship coach, here to simplify, hopefully for you, those relationship struggles we have each and every day of our lives. And aren't we having some doozies this year, huh? Right? Exactly. So we're going to discuss a few things. We're going to mainly cover the main question. I'm going to give you the person who wrote them in. And for those of you who might know of someone who's in a similar situation, we're going to, hopefully these tips will help you as well. So we're going to do our damn best to do that and get that sorted. So thank you for tuning in. As I've got to do, where are we? We're looking for something here. Sorry. Where is it? Where is it that I'm looking for? I'm looking for, okay. They've all disappeared. What I was looking for. Okay. All right. Well, we're just going to have to go with the flow with this tonight because for some reason the system has wiped some of my graphics that I had up there anyway. So that's just the thing with live streaming. You can't just, stop and start again. We're live and that's what we're going to go with. So as I said before, we're going to talk about someone has sent a question, and I want to say thanks to each and every one of you that have been liking, sharing my videos on YouTube and Facebook. If you are watching on YouTube, make sure you do hit the subscribe button and the bell so you get alerted to when I am jumping on, because it might be one of your questions that I'm answering. So, and it might be yours tonight, but it might not be if you saw the header at the start. So let's get into it. There's been a few good questions come through the last couple of weeks. But this was one that it's unusual because, well, it's not unusual, as in it does happen a lot. It's unusual for someone to ask about it. And I'm glad, and that's the reason why I chose this, because it is something that I think right now is also going to be a big issue. Well, there's many big issues happening this year, as we all know. But exactly, if you're wanting to, you're having struggles that it's affecting life in the boudoir, well, then we've got some serious issues we need to discuss. So, and Kay, good day, Sandy. How are you? Thank you for tuning in at, I think it's 4 a.m. in your time. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you're not losing too much sleep over this. But we are going to discuss, as I said, tonight's question. And I think I do have a graphic because some of the graphics have arrived and some have not. So let me just go into, oh, there it is. Might try, no, that's not going to work. Let's go back to that for a sec. And we'll try it down here, maybe. This might help. Oh, don't we love? Okay, maybe that's not going to work either. All right, well, I'll just go back up to the start of where we were. Nope, that's not going to work. So we'll just jump into the question this way. This will be easier for you. Here we go. This is from Miss Frustrated. I tried to commence intimacy for the first time in a good many months and had the normal stop it, get off. It's not even no baby anymore like it used to be, but that's not what is bothering me the most. I'm angry at myself for even bothering to try. What should I do? Miss Frustrated. Sorry that that's happening to you. It's really shocking that that's sort of happening, but obviously there's reasons for it, and there are many. Now, there is more to this email, and we have discussed to make sure that I was okay to answer this for her online tonight. There are quite a few different reasons this can happen. There's a lot of outside pressures, there's a lot of internal pressures, and there's also a lot of, I suppose you could say, medical issues that happen over the years. And it may or may not be that. It may be something mental that someone is struggling with, and it could be, there's a list of things it could be. It could be other people, it could be they're not interested, it could be they really just are not in the mood for it, and you're sort of like, whoa, okay, what happened there? Why? And I understand, look, it does come up and doesn't make you feel the best, because you want to make love to your partner and they're not interested, and you want to know what's going on, sort of thing. So that can be an issue. So I did have 3 tips which we'll kind of throw up on tonight's show, and for some reason they're not working. So I'm going to just have to bring them up myself in as we go. So tip number 1 I'm going to give you for this is what I call needs and wants of both parties. Now, the main reason why I say needs and wants of both parties is, first thing first, you need to, and look, just to give you a little bit of backstory too, they've been together for, I think it was 1 to 2 years. So it's not like something, this has been going on for 15, 20 years. This is actually something that's happened 18 to 20 months into the relationship. So it's not, it's quite fresh when it comes to that sort of thing. So, there's Sandy's comment before. Now it's all starting to come up by the looks of things. So thanks, Sandy. Yes, needs and wants of both parties. Tip number 1. What I mean by this is you have to have a clear understanding of what not just your needs and wants, but what their needs and wants, and for you to do that, though, you need to be very clear on what it is that you want, I suppose, what you require. Because, I mean, hey, you're only human, and there's, there are certain things that you want in and out of a relationship, and it's something that, really needs to be, you need to, before I get into tip number 2, because that's the key, that's a big key here, is you have to be, for you to be clear on what you want in the relationship. Doesn't matter if it's sex, love, connection, your love languages, whatever it is, you need to be really clear on what you want, because you can't expect to have the other person tell you or meet those needs if you're not quite sure what they are. Now, like everything, you can do a a list of what you've had in the past and what you haven't had in the past, and that sometimes helps, because then you can sort of go, okay, well, I didn't have that in my last relationship. I'd like that in this relationship. I had that and it wasn't very good. So you need to get a bit clear on the actual reasons for what it is that you require in your relationship. And it's always a good thing. I always say that, before you get into a new relationship, it's something you really should do, like a self-assessment of yourself. Self-assessment of yourself. An assessment of yourself, maybe. And what I mean by is, don't be afraid to look at yourself and go, okay, well, I've come out of this last relationship and, it was okay or it wasn't good. What happened? So it might have been this. It might have been a lack of this. It might be a lack of that. It might have been needing more of this, more of that. You got to understand that a lot of people are not going to, a lot of people are not going to be able to express how they feel a lot of the times. But you can't expect them to express to you what they want if you can't express to them what you want. Okay? And for that, you need to get clear on yourself. You need to sit down and go, okay, well, I was in this past relationship for 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is. What did I lack in that relationship? What did I miss in that relationship? What do I want in my new one? So before you go into it, this is a good tip that I advise people to get a bit of an understanding of, is trying to work out what it is that you really want. Okay? By then, once you get that, you're able to lead to tip number 2, which I don't have the graphic for, so you're just going to have to put up with me with my graphics. 2, not 2, is communication. And as I say before, just to quickly welcome Kenny. Thank you very much for Kenny for dropping in. I want. Jay, don't get me started. Yes, exactly. But no, that is a good point, Kenny. You can want, but you also need to know what they want. And this is why tip 2 is crucial, which is communication. If you're not quite sure, or you've, as Miss Frustrated has stated in her email, is that, it's only been, 15, 18 months into it already, they're already, the sex is already, drying up, and he's not even saying, stop it, or, he's not even saying, no, baby, like you used to. It's like, stop it, get off, leave me alone, sort of thing. And as she's saying there, she's angry at herself for even bothering to try. What should she do? And communication. And anyone who follows my work and also my videos and so forth will know I bang on about communication nearly every video. And it's because this day and age, we do too much of this and not enough action. You know what I mean? So and the reason being is because of the communication part, we're not really communicating. We're doing a lot of talking. There's a lot of this going on, but nothing. It's all filler. It's all air. It's all, I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry for that, I won't do this, I won't do that, I'll do this, I'll do that, and then nothing. No action. So when we look, for example, at Miss Frustrated's partner, I would be wanting to see how far back. I mean, did this happen? I mean, because it's only 15, 18 months into the relationship. Was there ever an issue at the start? Was it fine the first year? Has it been something that's happened recently? Now, obviously, if it's around the time of what's happening, there's a lot of pressures from outside that are affecting people, like, as we know, Dimension 2020, as we call it, and there's a lot of struggles with work pressures and everything else, sort of thing, and has an effect. Financial pressures has an effect on someone's libido. Psychological things. There's also, and I'm going to discuss this because this has happened with quite a few of my clients, and they only ever say it privately. So I'm going to say it right now. And if you've watched the last couple of the videos, you'll know what I mean. Okay. Give me a sec. I'll show you. This is the best way I can describe it. All right. I'm winging it right now. And this is right. We got that. There we go. Shoe. One of my shoes, size 12 to 13. Now, if you've got a shoe that you buy and it looks really good and it's great, it fits great, but you can't necessarily try some shoes on, if you get what I'm saying. So you might meet someone and it might, the shoe, as we're going to call it, might fit right to start with. And then after a while, you might realize that the shoe doesn't fit. And it's either too big or too small. And there might be some pain involved. There may be no contact at all. Now, this is not a criticism of you, Miss Frustrated, and it's not a criticism of Mr. Frustrated, we're going to call, because none of that is a criticism. It just comes down to, and I'm bringing it up because it happens quite often, that it just, sometimes there's no connection. And we're not talking about this connection, we're talking the shoe connection, if you get what I mean. And it might have started to go started well, really, and then later on realized, no, it's not doing, because the foot that's going in the shoe is not as solid or the right size for it, sort of thing. And sometimes people get themselves in relationships and go, oh, okay, what's going on there? And then realizing that, it's not working for them anymore. It's not doing it for them anymore because it wasn't, whatever reasons. I know this sounds a bit far-fetched, but I'm telling you now, I can refer to 6 or 7 cases over the last 10 years where that's happened. Actually, I think it's about 9 cases now that has happened where they've, start off well and then maybe with age or whatever else, because there's a lot of things involved. And sometimes, some men have issues where they just can't get that shoe as solid as they like. So there's that issue. So it's trying to get the communication to go, okay, well, let's talk. If they're not willing to communicate, you've then got to find another way to communicate with them. If they're not going to talk about it because they're embarrassed or whatever else, maybe, I don't say text message, no text message. A lot of the times when I'm working with clients, I'll say, you could probably send your spouse an email. Now, hear me out. That sounds, what's the difference between a text message and an email? An email is you might sit down and you might blah, 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 type out when you're really pissed off and really not happy and so forth. And you might just splurt it all out. But then before you send it, you shut the computer, leave it overnight, wake up the next day or day or two later and look at your email and go, okay, what do I like and what I don't like about this email, and adjust it so it's a bit more calmer. But just, say, look, if there's something medically wrong, if there's something that you want to talk about or you want to talk to someone else about, I mean, please do that. If it's something I'm not doing, say to me, try some new things, try different positions, try all sorts of things, role plays, different positions, different rooms, all sorts of stuff, try to, because sometimes also there's a lot of clients that I've worked with that have said it became a chore. It was like, oh, okay, well, it's Thursday night and he's had drinks, so I guess it's time to put out. Stuff like that. You don't want that. You don't want to feel like that it's a chore, because it really shouldn't be a chore. And that's the big struggle sort of thing that, and I think from a guy's point of view, it is quite embarrassing that when, you can't do the deed, I guess is the best way to say it, and you have some sort of issue. I'll put my hand up and say that's happened in the past where, you think, okay, I'm ready to go, and it's just not coming to the party, because who is, I don't know what's going on down there. It's got a mind of its own, and sometimes it doesn't, come to the party and play ball. It's dressed for the party, but it's not party. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of different things. Like I said, it can be psychological, it can be physical, it can be mental, it could be a lot of different things. But he really needs to sort of go and see someone about it, even if he's got to go to the chemist and get some little blue pills. Maybe it may be that, but it's best to seek medical advice if that is the case, because you don't want to be taking something like that and it might affect other things. Depending on his age and that, you don't want him to have a heart attack. I mean, mind you, if you're going to die, it is a good way to die, but still, we don't want to think that way, right? So yeah, that's where it is. And we'll get to tip number 3. Let's just check in to see what everyone has to say. I want Jayson to be patient when I try to help him with the computer, especially when we are getting into the 4th hour. Kenny. We're talking about relationships now, but yes, Ken's been helping me with some tech issues. And as of tonight, we're not using the program we're going to use. And obviously that's why some things are not working tonight, because I was a little frustrated with trying to get it work. But it was 12:30 at midnight. So and I don't have any, I get to like some nights at night and I'm just shut off. That's another thing when it comes to relationship. Some people, want intimacy at certain times of day and night. And there are some that are like, hey, no, not the morning before I've had coffee, or no, I'm too tired. I've come home from work. I can't focus, or I just can't get in the mood. So that can be also an issue for a lot of people as well. So again, these are things that a lot of people won't talk about because they're afraid, why shouldn't I be able to, make love to my partner and stuff like that? Is it me? And I have got so many female clients who go, I just don't think he loves me anymore. And it maybe what he had in his head, what he wanted from you, was not necessarily what he got. That doesn't mean it's you. It means that he hasn't communicated what he wants, or what he thought he was getting in you is not exactly what that is. And that's okay. There's plenty of fish in the sea. But obviously, I know when you love someone and you want to provide for them, but the more you fight it, the more you try and get it to work and get him to work and get him to come to the party and so forth, the harder it gets, and not in the way we want it to get hard. You know what I mean? So I know there's a lot of innuendos when we're talking about this, that you could take things the wrong way, but it is what it is. I'm not going to hold back. And it needs to be said. There are so many things. And it's the same with you, Miss Frustrated, where there might be days where, at the time when he's wanted it, and you've been like, oh, you know, for whatever reason. Obviously, there's, you know, that time of the month, do I need to say? But then again, there are some people that like it that time of the month. So this is where the communication comes in. I feel, and we have discussed it, that there is a disconnect in communication. And I know that you're doing your best to communicate to him and get through to him, and he's not willing to come to the party. So that's why, hopefully, if he's watching or he gets to watch this, or you can send the link to him, maybe he could just sort of, you know, sit down and have a chat to someone. And if you are watching Mr. Frustrated, talking to a doctor or talking to a psychologist or someone, it doesn't mean it's going to fix it, but it makes it a lot easier to understand. And I know I've been in the past, I had reasons why I'm going, I don't know what's going on here. Why is this not working? You know, and then you find out it might be something very simple, something little simple, not so little, if you know what I mean. But it might be something literally very simple that it's been sitting in the back of your mind and you never thought. You're like, what's going on here? Because I never expected this to happen, sort of thing. And where the hell did that come from, sort of thing. I'll give you a couple of tips a couple of examples before I go into tip number 3. I've had examples of, and this is over, you know, 15, 16 years of working with clients in all sorts of relationship issues. I've had people who have been with someone and all of a sudden realized their partner was like their mother, and that freaked them out. I've had people that have been with partners who there are words or lines that trigger them off and anger them. Because there are things in our subconscious, there are certain lines and words and so forth that might have been said to us at a young age or at an age where it's left an impact on us, and not a good impact. And it might be something you get to know someone you like and whatever, and all of a sudden they start using this phrase, and it reminds you of, you know, this person, for example, it reminded them of their stepfather, and there was abuse involved. So when their partner would be, you know, making out with them and they'd say something like, whoa, 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 or they would just freeze and then just burst into tears, would be just pouring out. And the guy's like, whoa, hey, whoa, what's going on? What have I said? What have I done? He hasn't necessarily done anything. He's in the moment. He's saying and doing what he's saying and doing. But at the same time, he doesn't know what's happened. She's frozen and just gone, oh, God, where did that? No. And she's having flashbacks. And that particular client, it took her probably 6 months before she was back on track. 6 months before they could do it again. And he was great. He stuck by her. He stuck by her and was there, supported. He would, you know, check on her, you know, drive her to the psychologist and so forth, and come home and everything else. And they would try different things, and they did group counseling with myself, and fantastic. Once they got back in the swing of things and were able to do a bit of reframing and so forth, it was amazing how much of a difference it made. But these are things you never think they're going to come up. You think, oh, you know, making love to my partner, what's going to be the issue with that? There are so many things, because you've got history. Now, Miss Frustrated, if you don't mind, I'm going to say you're between the ages of 35 and 45. And same with Mr. Frustrated. And, well, maybe not so frustrated. Maybe that's, who knows? I'd say both of you are frustrated. But at the end of the day, there's, you know, between the age of 35 and 45, there's, you know, 15 to 20 years of history of things that happen that can affect you in many ways. You know, one thing people like that turns them on, and it could be a turn off for the other person. There's a lot of things like that. Some people I know, some people I've worked with have got into relationships just because the person was there. Now, I get, I'm not saying it's for you, is frustrated, but for other people watching, there are people that got into relationships just because a person was there. You know, they're like, oh, I'm single, and they met at a one night stand out or something like that, and the person's going, well, you know, how about it? I'm like, well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, why not? You're here, I'm here. I'm not saying, you know, yeah, okay. But it's really not a well thought out plan. It really is not something that's got a lot of solid foundation. It's based on what? What? Exactly. There's quite a few things it can be based on, but that's where you've got to really sort of, you know, think about, you know, is this just something short term or is this something you'd like to go long term? And that's where it comes back to the communication. So right now we're still talking with Miss Frustrated at the moment to help her along. And the reason why I chose this subject was because it's not the first time and it won't be the last time it comes up. So anyway, now tip number 3 I'm going to get to. I know it took a while to get to that, wasn't it? But this is why I do this. I want you guys to really, I want you to get a real clear understanding of, you know, what can happen. And that is, and I had to say, if tip number 1 doesn't work and tip number 2 doesn't work, tip number 3, maybe it's decision time. Meaning there are times where you're going to have to make a decision. And I know how much you care about this person in such a short time. I know what they mean to you, but I also know for a fact from our conversations and through your email and then more details you gave me is you're doing a lot of the work. You're doing everything possible. You know, you're trying to turn them on. You're trying to do everything that's possible. And that's the response you're getting. You know, you're getting the same response as, you know, each time. And, you know, the stop and get off and no, you know, it's quite cold. You know, it's not no baby anymore or not now or I'm not feeling it or whatever else. It's just virtually, you know, that's it. Let's get into it and let's not get into it and just leave it at that sort of thing. And you've got to realize that if they're not willing, there are 2 people, there's at least 2 people in a relationship, and both people need to come to the party. Both people of the couple need to do what's right. But if he continually does what he's doing, and this has been going on for a couple of months, and it's getting you angry because, you know, you feel silly, you feel, you know, stupid, as you said to me in one of your emails, it just, you've got to save yourself. You know, if the other person is not willing to do what's right and come to the party, you've got to go, well, how much more can I do? You know, maybe a break might help. Maybe the break will help and then he'll come back. Maybe it won't. Maybe the break will seal the deal. But at the end of the day, you've really got to make sure that, you know, it's your health, your mental health and your sanity. And depending on the background you've had, and obviously I know the past you've had through what you've told me, you don't need another person to make you feel less insecure or make you feel that you're questioning yourself or you're not a worthy person or anything else like that. Because there are so many worthy people and great people out there, and they just seem to attract the wrong people. And these people make them feel worse than they already feel. They don't need that. They need someone to pick them up, or they need time themselves to sort that out. So if you're not willing to, if he's not willing to come to the party, he's not willing to come to the couple sessions, he's not willing to speak with a doctor, he's not willing to do what it takes, and he's not going to be honest with you with what's going on, you're going to get to a point where you're just going to go, I can't do this anymore. And look, it's not going to be easy. It won't be easy. But if it was easy, you'd be just coming and going all the time, leaving him left behind and stuff like that. You know, with many people, Matters of the heart are never easy. But what the best part of making decisions when it comes to the matters of the heart is what is going to be right for your future. Because if you don't do something, if you don't take that step right now, my question is then, how long down the track, how many months, many years is it going to take for him to come to the party, or for him to open up about it, or if he's, just going to be a part of the couple and let you in. It might be something that, has popped up for him that's come from outside sources, family or whatever, and he's blocking you out and he's just not emotionally available. All of a sudden he was, and then all of a sudden he's not. That can happen as well. So and you can't, honestly, you can't wait around for it, girl. You really can't. It's heartbreaking, what we've discussed and so forth. But at the end of the day, there's only so much you can do to save a relationship. When it gets to a point, you just go, you know what? I think I need to let you be, and you need to sort yourself out. I know it's a way overused cliche. If you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's meant to be, blah, blah, blah. But there is some truth to that. If he comes back, and he may come back and it might be all good. He may come back and you might be going, you know what? Actually, not interested anymore. And that's why when we looked at tip 1 about the needs and wants, and it was of both parties, but it involved you getting clear on what you need and want. And you might go, well, I'm not going to have sex for a while until he's ready. And like I said, that might be another year. It might be 2 years. He might be delaying something. He just doesn't have he's not man enough to stand up and say, hey, this is not working. He's waiting for you to do, or he's waiting for you to leave, or he's waiting for you to cheat on him. So then he's got an excuse for you for it to end. There's a lot of different factors involved, but they're just a couple. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight and helps you out there, sort of thing. It's frustrated because, I feel for you, girl. It's not easy, and I know how it's affecting you on the outside and the inside. And it's so when you're ready to make those decisions and make those discussions, we will discuss that further. But anyone else is out there, especially at this time of Dimension 2020, where we are, nothing's normal. There's no normal to it all. And we're at a point where we're having so many rough times because you're in your other half's face, all the time in the house. So, it's a time to make a lot of decisions. We discussed that on Sunday night show that there's some decisions a lot of people need to make, and we're in this time. And I was also on a show yesterday. I think young Sandy, who's on tonight at the moment, I was on her show only a day or two ago, and we were discussing that it is a time where people are forced to make decisions because they've been putting it off, but now that they're the way the year's been, they've been forced their hand to make the decision they need to make. And from the ones that have made it so far this year, it's been a struggle, but at the same time, they've been telling me some, really good things are coming out of it. So yes, it might be lonely for a little bit, but at the same time, it's giving them opportunities to focus on them, get themselves right, get clear on what they want. And then who knows what next year is going to involve. You know what I mean? Let's check in under the comments and see what we got. Kenny, I found that my wife needs to be mentally prepare. So I say a certain word several days in advance. It's our code word, so the kids don't catch on. But saying that word gives her the time to prepare. My understanding is men are drag races and women need a little bit more time. That's an interesting way of doing it. That's a lot of time to prepare, kids. So if you're willing to do it that way, it's worked for you because you've been married for 20 something years, I think you said, right? So that's a great way to to approach it, sort of thing. And yes, there are a lot of men that it's probably a good description. There are a lot of men that are drag racers and need, need to slow down and take a little bit. They need one of those parachutes on the back to slow them down when they're going to take off. It's like, whoa, dude, hey, take your time, man, take your time. This woman wants some loving, and she doesn't want loving, and it's not a race to get there. So you've got a good approach there. I really like that. Sandy, sometimes there's body image issues, maybe. Yes. Thank you, Sandy. Thank you. No, that's exactly right. There is times where that does come up for a lot of people as well, where I think sometimes a couple of clients I've had where, they've put on a little bit of weight and they're very conscious, and they're so conscious to the point that, they've got to have the lights off. And then if there's a little bit of light in the room and they don't want their partner to see, they get all paranoid and they're like, pull the blankets over there. And the guy's like, what are you doing? I can't breathe under here and stuff. And it's because of how they feel about themselves. But that's when it comes back to communication, because you really need to communicate to your partner that, okay, I'm whatever that struggles is, that I'm struggling with, that I really I'm worried about. I've had couples where, one of the partners has had like a skin condition and they worry about, how the other person's going to be. I've had people that get a little anxious when lovemaking and stuff for all sorts of reasons, like it could be body image. It could be, I've drawn a blank. Like I said, it could be a lot of different things. It could be as simple as, there's a day of hair or 2 days of hair. And if their partner is like happy that their hair is a little prickly, they're like, oh, no. Like, if he's still there, just go with it. Doesn't mean do it all the time if that's what you don't want, but just have faith. If you've got a really good relationship and you talk to each other and stuff like that, I don't think, unless you're going in looking like a Sasquatch, or a, Bigfoot, maybe, but no, look, it's each to their own. I know that's wrong to say, but I know. It's the same I'll say with guys. Our main area of keeping weight is down here. And there are some guys that are carrying weight and, well, they haven't seen who for a little while. And you've got to work around that. You've got to find ways that, it's embarrassing. I've heard of clients of mine who said their husband virtually has to lift his stomach up, and he's so paranoid about it. And then he does it, and then he doesn't do it very well because he's conscious of it and stuff. And it's not enjoyable. And that's when I've worked with a husband, and I've said, well, if it bothers you that much, let's do something about it. Because even if you want to please your wife, right? You don't want to, you want to please yourself as well as her. And if something like that is an issue, you really need to you need to get your priorities right. And health is a big thing. You really need to start to think about your health. And, you can't expect your partner to look fantastic and you're just letting yourself go, Oh, he doesn't love me, or she's not, finding me attractive. And it's like, well, ask her. And do you find yourself attractive? Well, no. Well, there is always going to be a bit of attraction. You need attraction. Yes, you've got the connection, but, there's things that if I find an attractive thing, I don't mind if they're big or small, tall or thin, tall or short, fat or thin. It's the respect they have for themselves. It's an amazing attractive thing when someone shows care in themselves. And I don't mean they have to have their teeth perfectly, white, and they have to be slim size 6 and everything. No, not that at all. It's about showing respect for themselves. If you show respect for yourself, then the other person, you can expect the other person to show respect. But you can't expect someone to respect you if you don't respect yourself. And that's a big thing. And sometimes when we're in relationships after a long while, that happens. We start to lose respect for ourselves, and we get complacent and laxed in like, oh well, she's been with me for 15 years or he's been with me for 20 years, so it is what it is. So then I say, when relationships end, why is it all of a sudden the weight just falls off people and they get fit and they start to look good, and because they go back to themselves and start to take responsibility for how they look, how they feel, more than how they look. I mean, how they look for themselves when they look at themselves. I've had clients where they won't even get out of they will, if they've got a mirror in their bathroom and they're going to have a shower, they will get changed in the hallway and jump straight in the shower, do their thing with the back to the mirror, and then grab the towel, jump out and jump in the hallway because they don't want to see themselves in the mirror. Now, if you're feeling like that and you can't look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, well, he's not attracted to me. Well, if you don't like the way you look at yourself, you need to sit down and have a conversation with him and say, is that what it is? But both parties, you can't expect one to do all the work and get the other one to not. I know it's probably a bit controversial what I'm saying, but at the same time, why are you with the person? You're with them because you love them. And yes, you love them, as we say, unconditionally, but there's always some sort of condition. But at the same time, you've still got to show a bit of respect, show a bit of respect and a bit of love for each other, and also, look after yourselves. Because what happens if you're carrying a lot of extra weight, one day you have a heart attack and they've lost their husband or they've lost their wife. Do you want that to happen? No, I wouldn't think any of you would. Sorry, a bit of hay fever kicking in tonight. Woo! But at the end of the day, you really you need to look after yourself. I hope that makes sense. But you're right there, Sandy. Thank you for that. And I probably left that up a little bit too long. What's Ken say? Women need to be wooed. Exactly. And look, and hey, some of us men like to be wooed as well. It's a different wooing. You're not wolf whistling it. Well, you couldn't wolf whistle. If I was walking past and a girl wolf whistled at me, I'd be like, you took it to me because there's no one else here. But I'm lucky. I know. I think I got someone that I think would wolf whistle if she could whistle. I don't know if she can whistle, but I'll have to ask her that. But yeah, we do. Women do need to be wooed. A lot of us need to be wooed and won over. Male and female need to be romanced. Exactly. Romancing the stone. We're going to go back to the 80s. Yeah. It's exactly what we need, Sandy. Exactly. Confidence supersedes a supermodel shape. There we go. There. I need a clicker or something. I need a boom, 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 boom. We'll work it out in the new program I'll be using next week. But that's the comment of the night. I mean, the women need to be wooed is fine, but that's exactly. Confidence supersedes a supermodel shape. You can have the best looking body in the world or look fantastic. But we all know we've met people that look good, and as soon as they open their mouth, we're like, I hear I think that's a friend calling me. I need to, exactly right. So, and you think, oh, geez, but I've got friends that, were quite of a big size. No, I mean, not that size. I mean, in size, but their confidence when they walk in a room, you would think they're like a size 6 supermodel, but they're not, nowhere near. But they are the most and that is the most attractive thing about them. I've had friends years that have had that, and you're just like, wow. Males and females. I had a mate years ago that was very big guy, but he would walk into a room and he was just so full of life, and people, always worried about his size, obviously, because he got bigger as he got older, and unfortunately it was part of us losing him. But at the same time, man, the amount of women that would come over and want to talk to him and get to know him and stuff like that was ridiculous. And people, and all these, guys have been working out the gym and are buffed, are like, what is it about? Why are they talking to him and not me? And it's like, you know what? Because you're all about, trying to look the best and impress someone. Well, this guy just walks in, but his confidence, his smile, he's like jovial, like he just chats to anyone. People find that attractive. I can tell you right now, it doesn't matter how much you dye your hair or you lose your weight and everything else. If you feel confident in yourself through whatever it is you do, that is one of the sexiest things you can find. And yeah, exactly. My girl at the moment, one of the most confident girls I've met, and it is a damn sexy thing to see in a woman, sort of thing, because it just, it's crazy. It really is. So, Hairy Man, yes, welcome Hairy Man on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. Quite sure who Hairy Man is, a newbie, but thank you very much for joining and being a part of the show. Yeah, well, being a hairy man, that sometimes can be an issue. I've got a very close mate of mine who is, he's quite fair bit of excess hair and that, but when he's with someone, he does what he can to sort of maintain it, look after himself and stuff like that. And I mean, look at Robin Williams. That guy, he even admitted, I remember he did he befriended a gorilla and went and met this gorilla and was able to do the sign language and stuff like that with the gorilla and have a bit of a connection with her. And he even came out and he said, oh God, I think one of his interviews I watched, he went, well, it's amazing you could tell us apart who had more hair, sort of thing, because he was a hairy man. But look at him. He was married for many years, great kids, one of the funniest men on the planet. Sorry to, see him go the way he went, sort of thing. But at the end of the day, it just, yeah. A lot of people found that great about him, that he was just so funny and stuff, So yeah, hopefully, Miss Frustrated, that has helped you out. For those who have just jumped on board, we were just talking about and answering this question from Miss Frustrated, who there is a lot more context to this question. I tried to commence intimacy for the first time in a good many months and had the normal stop it or get off. And it's not even no baby like it used to be. But that's not what was bothering me. I'm angry at myself for even bothering to try anymore. What should I do? So that's what we were discussing tonight, guys. And we thank each and every one of you for tuning in and your comments tonight. And on the replay, thank you to each and every one of you coming in and leaving your comments. I do my best to reply to all the comments. So by all means, don't be afraid to drop a comment in there. If you have a question you want answered on Ask Jay, we are on every Wednesday at the same time. It is 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, 7 p.m. Queensland time. And check your local converted times in your area for when you will be, when we are on. But I usually try to stick around that 8 p.m. time. So so this time we started around this time, it would be what we will be focusing on. To wrap it up, as some of you already know, we do a little thing where we pull a little bit of a Dr. Seuss out, just something to finish us off with, something a little bit lighthearted when we deal with a couple of different struggles. So I'm going to try and we're going to see which one we're going to go for tonight. We've got random ones happening here. I'm just selecting a few to see which one we're going to go for. As we play around, we're looking and looking. And tonight's Dr. Seuss is, there we go, cherish diversity. We see them come, we see them go. Some are fast, and some are slow. Some are high, and some are low. Not one of them is like the other. Don't ask why. Go and ask your mother. From red, one fish, two fish, blue fish, red fish. It's kind of, relative to what we were talking about tonight, wasn't it? Really, when you think about it, when it comes to, we're not all the same. There are some of us, as Kenny pointed out before, some people are fast and some are slow. Some are high and some are low. And there is a lot, we're all very different. So at the end of the day, we really need to, be respectful of that. And also have a clear understanding of what it is that we want in someone. Because, you can't expect it from someone if you don't know what you want and you don't know what you have in yourself to offer. So don't be afraid to get clear on your wants and your needs, your boundaries, your foundations. Because if you're wanting that special love, someone to look you in the eye and say, God, I love you. Or, you want someone to be there for you, to, come up to you from behind and just give you a hug when you're feeling down. Or if you want someone that just really, that special someone. We go through a lot. We go through a lot of ups and downs. We go through some good relationships and we go through some tough relationships. We learn from them. Learn what we like, learn what we don't like, learn what we like about ourselves and what we don't like about ourselves. We learn how we react to certain things. We learn, how we should react to certain things. So sometimes, we're going through life, and if you can do that with the one person for the majority of your life, I take my hat off to you. People like Ken and Wendy and quite a few others that have been together for quite a long time. You can never take advantage of that. You can never expect, well, we're married and we're going to stick it out and do what's right, because there's a lot of times people don't. They get to a point where they've had enough and they can't continue on anymore. So at the end of the day, you've really got to, look after you first and foremost. Because if you look after you, and I don't mean that in a selfish way, if you look after you, you can then, start to really understand who you are, and that helps you understand your other half. Because if you're trying to help them all the time, but you start to forget who you are, you need to also know who you are, so you know what your strengths and weaknesses are, so you can look after them. Because then if you know what your strengths are, if you know what your weaknesses are, you can then start to realize that, that you can actually know what to ask them and focus on them and know what their strengths and weaknesses are and how you can get, help them get the most out of themselves as well. Because you need to support each other. We all need a little bit of support. We also need to reach out and help other people. So we're pretty much nearly up to the hour. I like to not try and go over the hour. So I want to say thanks to each and every one of you for joining in tonight and your comments. Thank you to each and every one of you that are watching on the replay. And please put a comment in the comment section below. That's a little bit loud. Until next Wednesday, if you are wanting your relationship question answered, by all means, drop us a question. I don't think I've got the banner for that, because all my banners have all of a sudden disappeared tonight. No, it's not there. So yes, you can email me at j@jasonmair.com. Jump across to jasonmair.com website, or DM us at Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and we'll take it from there. But thank you again, each and every one of you tonight, for tuning in, and appreciate all the love and support from you guys. Feel free to share this if you think this video can help someone and until we speak again, if not, see you Sunday night for the Simplified Relationship Show, where we just talk general relationships around the world, have a bit of a chin wag and a chit chat with everyone. about what's happening in the world of relationships, and we'll look forward to seeing you then. But until then, thank you very much for joining us. Until next week, love yourself first, all right? Give yourself some loving. Don't beat yourself up too much about stuff. So thank you. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.